Yo, think about this for a second. How we Yo, think about this for a Yo, think about this for a second. Yo, think about this for a second. Yo, think about this for a second. How we interact with each other has definitely changed. We don't convene in NACC anymore, but the campus vibes are very much alive. Yo, think about this for a second. How we interact with each other has definitely changed. We don't convene in NACC anymore, but the campus vibes are very much alive. The Publications Committee proudly brings you Campus Beats, where we keep you informed on the latest activities, bring you helpful tips from your trusted guild counselors, and most of all, we want to hear from you. So, run tell all your friends. So log on, sit back, relax, and enjoy our program every Thursday at 7 p.m. for the latest news and to help you virtually navigate around campus. See you then.
Good night, everyone. Welcome to Campus Beats episode 3. As you all may know, my name is Kendell Vincent, Guild Publications Committee Chairperson. It gives me great pleasure to be on set for episode 3, and I have a group of dynamic hosts, and they would introduce themselves.
Good night, everyone. I am Tamika. You guys probably know me by now. Welcome to episode 3 of Campus Beats, and we look forward to once again another exciting episode.
Hi, my name is Vernon Davis. I'm the JGI Hall Chair, and I'm joining you for the third time, lucky 3. I welcome you to our third episode as we bring in this Lenten season. I hope that you enjoy our episode and see what's coming up next. So thank you.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Matthew Seeley, and I am the postgraduate president from the Guild of Students. This is actually my second time back, but actually my first time here as a guest host. So I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity and hearing from our guest speakers. Back to you, Kendell.
Great, guys. As by now you all know the drills, and we have so much has been happening, so much, for those of you all who has been following the Guild social media. We are in for the first segment of today, which is our What's On segment, which basically brings us, we have Tamika with the latest in terms of what's happening off campus and on campus and the virtual space, guys. So Tamika, take it away.
Hi, guys. Pleasant good evening. Welcome once again to Campus Beats. Welcome back, I should say. Episode 3. This is our third episode. You already know the schedule, as Kendall said. We will be starting off slow with our What's On segment, where we talk about all things UE and we highlight some of our upcoming events. So first up, the most important on the list, on some Guild news, the St. Augustine UE Guild of Students, in collaboration with Youth Voices Matter, will be hosting the UE Guild Elections 2021 today, Thursday, 18th February at 8 p.m. So that is soon. They will be going live on the UE Guild of Students' Facebook page. Nominations were extended to this past Monday, 15 February. So I definitely hope you got your votes in. Remember, your decision is ultimately for your benefit. So be prepared to see some familiar faces, as it will be featuring our very own Mr. Warren Anderson, UE Guild President, and Miss Cindy Andrews, who is the head of on-campus engagement for the Youth Votes Matter. And once again, that's live today at 8 p.m. on the St. Augustine UWI Guild of Students' Facebook page. And their Instagram handle is at One Guild STA, and their Facebook handle is at UWI STA Guild. Campaigning also began today at 1:30 p.m., so I am sure that you probably would have seen some fellow students be reminded that they are looking forward to working for you. Some of our preliminary candidates include Mr. Kobe Sandy, who will be running for president, Mr. Christian Malchan, and Mr. Kendell Vincent. For vice president, Jensen Samaru and Brittany Sugdeo for secretary, Bradley Osborne and Ravina Pabu for treasurer. If you are interested in viewing the full list of candidates and their respective positions, it is available on the Guild of Students' Instagram page. Once again, One Guild ST. So be sure to take a look at it. It also has the candidates for subcommittees and faculty representatives. So moving on smoothly, the UWI Tourism Society presents episode 3 of their Let's Talk Tourism series, Restart Tourism and Reimagine Trinidad and Tobago. This Sunday, the 21st of February, they will be covering customer service and tourism with special guests, Miss Stephanie Pereira, who is the principal consultant at Spare Consulting, and hosted by Mr. Alex Shub Thomas, who is the vice president of the UWI Tourism Society. The discussion will be held on Microsoft Teams at 7 p.m. So if you happen to forget the details, you can check them out on Instagram at uwi.sta Tourism Society. Now on to some regional student news. The Vincentian Student Association, VINSA, and the Grenada Students Association, GSA, of the UWI St. Augustine campus, in collaboration with the St. Lucian Students Affiliation of Trinidad and Tobago, will be hosting a virtual games night. Hola Vibe and Chill will be a wind down this Saturday, February 20th at 6 p.m. with lots of fun and games in store. If you would like a fun-filled and relaxing night, be sure to check them out on Instagram at Vinsa_SDN if you happen to, once again, forget the details. So that's all for our What's On segment. Back to you, Kendell.
Thank you, Tamika, always keeping us in the loop as to what is happening on campus or within the virtual space, as we want to call it, since that is what we would know as our new normal, at least in the near to immediate future. So yeah, we're gonna just jump into the next segment right away because time, guys. We have lots in store for you, and we have a very packed show. So Vernon.
All right, coming up next is going to be a club feature where we find out about all the exciting activities. And this week we have the IVCF Club that's going to be hosted by Kendell. So go ahead, Kendell.
Great. So we have our club feature, our first club feature, which should be ISCF. Actually, they would be interviewed by Matthew Seeley, our postgrad president and our guild postgrad representative. So today we have Mr. David Unarine, and he is the president, I believe, of the ISCF club. So David, welcome to Campus Beats.
Good evening, and thank you for having me and IBCF with you all this afternoon.
Hi, welcome again. Really excited to have you. And we know too, this period right now is actually a very special period for you all. So what I'd like to hear first and foremost is, tell us a little bit about yourself and then tell us a little bit about your organization.
All right, so my name again is David. I'm a final year 3 student. I study computer science with management. I'm also trying to learn a bit of Spanish with CLL. Again, I'm the president of IVCF, the St. Augustine campus, as well as I represent the disciplinary committee chair of the UWI Student Senate.
Okay, nice. So, we've been in this COVID period for a while now. Tell us a little bit, how has your club adapted to the COVID period? How has it been for you?
It's going on almost a year. I guess we've been online.
Yeah.
I don't think that we missed a single session. We have sessions every week, multiple times through the week, different activities. But since March, we jumped straight onto Zoom, and we've been using that platform as our main form of meeting. I honestly would say I believe that the club has adapted pretty well to the whole pandemic situation, we can't meet in person, but we still are able to have a fellowship and still be able to share that love and share God with each other online. It's been
That's
good.
important. That's important. Sharing the faith is very important, actually. I myself actually have attended a couple of your sessions when we were still physical. I would definitely say I would recommend it to any student. The energy in the room was amazing. I would say, tell us a little bit about the events you've done so far throughout the COVID period.
As a club, we continue with our regular sessions on Thursdays at 1:30. Again, everything is on Zoom, but we also have these things that we call cell groups, which we meet in smaller groups, but different times of the week. So it provides us to allow people to come whenever you are available, whenever you're free. We want you to be a part. We want you to be in what we're doing. So we try to make as much room as possible to, as we said, to have that sense of what is going on with us. We would usually have events for Christmas, but again, we could not have a regular Christmas cocktail. But I would share this last week, Thursday, we were able to partner with the Hindu Society to have what we call the Hindu-Christian dialogue.
Nice.
And that was one of the biggest activities because although we believe different things, but we also thought that there's too much happening and too much separation going on. And we thought that could have been a point to start, just sit and talk. Two different faiths, but just chat with each other.
I like that actually, and that's a good representation of what UE is about, really and truly bringing everybody together regionally, culturally. So I really like to hear that, and definitely now is a time for a move like that. So I'm really glad to hear about that. Tell us a little bit more about any upcoming events you might have as the semester continues.
So that's IVCF. So again, if anybody, 5 points, anybody who knows what IVCF stands for, but it's the Varsity Christian Fellowship. Even I got tied up there. Of the UE. So our goal and our motto is to know Christ and to make him known. And one of the ways that we do that is really to love God and to love people and let people know that we are there no matter what you're doing. Everybody's going through things, but IV is there for you. But one of our main activities that we're having on April the 4th, we usually have our annual, what we call production. In Daga, it's usually a big production, tickets and all this kind of thing. But this year, the exact shows, to still push forward with it. But this year, it's going to be totally virtual. So it's a virtual production on April the 4th. That's Easter Sunday, entitled He is Risen. And so it's a story about Jesus, but we're excited for it. So we want you to be a part of that with us.
Sounds good. That sounds really exciting, actually. Definitely I'll put it in and I'll make sure to attend myself. So, before we wrap up, tell us a little bit, how can students get in contact with you all if they're interested in joining?
All right. So, everybody's on Instagram these days. So you can find us on Instagram at IVCF-UE. You can follow us there as well as IVCF-UE St. Augustine on Facebook. But I really encourage you to get in contact with us. All our flyers, everything goes through both channels. And even, look out for these Zoom links, message us. We want you to be a part. We really, really want you to be a part of everything that we're doing and to really encounter the love that Ivy has to offer through God.
Nice. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I myself, again, I'd say, I experience it and it really is an amazing energy that you'll have. So, any other little closing remarks you want to share with the students before you go?
Yeah, I just want to share a bit of encouragement with everybody who's watching. We know that, well, at least for me, the semester, is a bit difficult. And even with those at IVCF, not everything is perfect. But we at IVCF seek to provide that environment, where we believe that God is good. We believe that Jesus cares for us. And we want you to just come and no matter who you are, no matter what things may be like to you, just come and I'm telling you, you won't regret it. So join us every Thursday at 1:30 p.m.
All right, Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Don't forget IVCF UE, yes, right, and Facebook as well. So get in contact with them. Come and share in a little bit of the experience. Definitely would recommend it myself. Thanks so much for being here to share with us, David.
Thank you.
And back to you, Mr. Vernon.
Oh, it's muted. Okay. Well, thank you for that very informative session. I do hope that our students are engaged and they definitely come out and check out IVCF. We appreciate you being here today. I know it's a very busy time in the semester, so it's truly a pleasure to have you with us here today. All right, so on to you, Kendell.
Thank you, Vernon. Our next segment, we're gonna have a very short video which would introduce us to our island association actually of the week. Every week we feature our various island associations, and this week on Campus Beats we have Trinidad and Tobago. So if you're watching the screen, you'll notice that everything gone red, because we're gonna be talking or representing for the 866, also known as Trinidad and Tobago. So we have a short video before we bring on our guests from Trinidad and Tobago to tell us, a little bit more. So we have our guest entertainment, a little bit about Trinidad, and then we would jump right into the interview. Okay, guys. So let me. So that's just a little taste of sweet Trinidad and Tobago. And guys, our National Association feature for today is none other than the Trinidad and Tobago Students Association. And with me is Mr. Zane Motley. I hope I pronounced that right. President of the TTSA. So Vin, tell us a little bit about TTSA. What is it about? What are your? Just give us a little synopsis as to what the work that you all do.
Well, TTSA, we are an island association, so we set out a couple goals for the year. And these goals include to increase participation, to form bonds and camaraderie amongst the members, to promote regional and national unity, and to promote regional integration and national unity, because we know that is very important. And we also want to help our members in all aspects of UA life. So those are our goals. And last but not least, to have fun. So those are our goals that is what we are about in TTS.
Great. Susan, in regards to, we know that TTSC has been on campus for quite a while. Give us an idea, for those of us who, are tuned in, give us an idea as to pre-COVID. What were some of the activities that the TTSC is known for? Some of the things that we can expect or would have expected from TTSC had there not been a COVID or pre-COVID?
Well, had there not been COVID, my executive and we had a lot of activities planned, which were some of these activities included. Well, one activity that we wanted to come off was a regional sports day. That was one of the activities. So that would have been in the week of Guildfest. It would have been in the week of regional integration. That would have been one of the events we would have been looking forward to, a regional student association sports day. That would have been one of the events. There were also
I think that is a very excellent idea, and we definitely would miss that experience. So what are some of the other activities that you were saying that you had planned pre-COVID?
Yeah, there were various fundraisers. One thing that we also wanted to pull off, which is a bit ambitious, and I'm not sure if we would have been able to do it even with COVID, but a Tobago trip would have been a thing that we would have liked to get done, because Tobago, we are in Trinidad and Tobago, we are one nation. So that would have been another thing that we would have looked for. Another thing that we had planned also was a link up with not sure if I remember the group, but we were supposed to go to the National Petroleum to NP just to go on a tour. That was another event that we had planned also, but COVID came and it did not happen. So
what are some of the activities that you are currently engaged in or have been engaged in during COVID?
So one of the activities that we have engaged in and has been consistent was the TTSA Help Initiative. This initiative, we understand that UE can be difficult. We understand that no one can do it alone. So I realize that I cannot do it alone. So something that I wanted that we implemented was a help initiative. This help initiative was to link people in the same course doing the same courses with each other, and we would be able to help each other and upward together. That was one of our main initiatives that we were able to be consistent and continue to go upward with.
I'm really, really happy to hear that, especially in these times of COVID. We know a lot of COVID has affected a lot of our various family, friends, and I'm really, really happy to see that the TTSC has been, stepping up and kind of providing that help or that support. And we can never get enough help as we continue to together, deal and address this pandemic. So let's switch gears a little bit. What does being a Trinbagonian mean to you? Because I know you from the sister island Tobago, and I know sometimes we tend to focus on the Trinidad and leave out the Tobago. So what does being a Tobagonian and more so a Trinbagonian mean to you?
What does being a Trinbagonian mean to me? Well, what it means to me is that Trinidad and Tobago is more or less a Creole pot full of diversity. It is a place where we have every creed and race that should have an equal place, and that is something we love to encourage in the TTSA, that we are all equal. no matter your race, no matter where you're from, no matter your religion, because that is what Trinidad and Tobago is. Trinidad and Tobago is a place of diversity. So that is how I view myself as a Trinbagonian. We are all one, we are all together. Trinidad and Tobago. No matter how anyone will try to divide it, we are all one, and that is how I see Trinidad and Tobago.
So what is your favorite dish? Like your favorite Trinidad are probably known for food and that kind of thing. So what's your favorite,
That's my
dish?
favorite dish. My favorite dish? What must my favorite dish? It must be pilau. Pilau with some nice coleslaw. That would be my favorite dish. I know. So yeah, that's my favorite. But it is very difficult to choose because I love roti. I love. I had well, I was living in a hall. I had someone who used to make pepper roti. The pepper roti was my favorite dish at that point in time. I need some more of that at this point in time.
So tell us a little bit about Tobago. For those of I know persons normally hear about Trinidad a lot. So tell us a little bit about the sister isle of Tobago.
Well, I must say that Tobago is a land of a lot of potential, and we, the people, we need to start to realize our potential. That is what I could say about Tobago. It is a beautiful place, nice, clean, green, and serene, and peaceful, safe. Well, from my perspective, it is very safe in comparison. So that's how I see Tobago. It is a place of great potential. We could be a lot more developed than we are, but we aren't. So we
Most
are a place of great
definitely.
potential.
I think that, in terms of, I like how you mentioned, in terms of there's always room for that development, to take place. And I know that a lot has been happening in Tobago in terms of current affairs, but we all look on and we all hope for the best in terms of moving forward with the development of the island of Tobago. But last but not
Yes.
least, Zun, could you tell students or Trinidad and Tobago students who would like to get involved in the work of TTSC or just to be a part of TTSC? Tell us how can we find you on social media and how could students of Trinidad and Tobago or students get involved?
Well, you can come on our Instagram page at TTSA UASTA. There's a Google Docs form in the link in the bio where anyone can come and join, and we would add you to our WhatsApp group, and we would link with you more or less.
Great. So I really want to take the time out, to be Trinidad and Tobago is such a there's so much we could talk about Trinidad and Tobago.
Sure.
And I really, really feel a very sense of pride being a part of Trinidad and Tobago. And not just Trinidad and Tobago, but we as Trinidad and Tobago citizens, we feel very happy, housing the St. Augustine campus. And having all students, regional, international students coming to Trinidad. So, Zin, I really want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here with us at Campus Beats. I do want to wish you all the best in this semester. I don't know, it's probably like midterms, and really, really appreciate the time that you took to be with us here on Campus Beats. So, do enjoy the rest of your night and continue. Any parting words that you want to leave with us?
Well, I would just like to thank you for inviting me onto the show. Any parting words? Well, in my goal is that, well, my goal in life is to see the Caribbean be a united group of nations, to be united. So just like how we see it on the St. Augustine campus, we see it on the Cable campus, we see it on the Mona campus, where everybody from the various Caribbean islands could come and show love and show support to each and everyone. That is how I would like to see the nation operate as a whole. So that's my closing statement. Thank you for having
Great.
me.
Thank you, Zid. I know that we try not to, I know we all would have missed our road show or what we would know as carnival. But hopefully COVID work out and we're back on the road in 2021. So have a good night, Zin, and thank you for being with us. Okay, guys. So we now we now have a very short video, and then we will come back with our next segment.
Hi, okay, welcome back. That was a very nice video. So I'd like to welcome our host, Tamika Thomas, who will actually be interviewing the Catholic Students Movement, CSM, and the member from CSM that will be attending with us is Mr. Joshua Govaya. So I'd like to welcome Joshua.
Hi, good night, everyone. Good evening. How are you guys going?
We're going great. We're going great.
Welcome, my good.
Nice. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome. So tonight, guys, we have our Spotlight Club feature. This is in keeping with our theme of interfaith groups. We have with us the Catholic Students Movement that is known in and around the UWI St. Augustine's campus as the CSM, and they are one of the many religious groups that is responsible for keeping the faith among students alive. So we warmly welcome the president, Mr. Joshua Gofaya. He's also a current student at the University of the West Indies. So Joshua, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We know you are very busy spreading the good word of God. So it is quite an honor for you to be here. But before we get into the interview itself, let's find out what exactly is the Catholic Students Movement for students who may not know.
Okay, all right. Honor, I'm not too sure about that, but okay, I'll take it. Yes, so the Catholic Students Movement of the University of the West Indies in Trinidad is an umbrella organization which oversees and coordinates like the activities of the Catholic groups or Catholic individuals on campus. I say Catholic groups because in the past, maybe many moons ago, there were more than one Catholic group. But so I guess just the CSM, so just the individuals on campus. But as the official definition, to put it in layman terms, CSM, Catholic Students Movement, is a movement. I like to say it's more than just a club. It is a movement for persons, not just Catholics, persons to come and enter in to have an encounter with Christ on campus, to help them be the best student that they can be, and by extension, the best individual that they can be while being on campus. And it's a place where students can come and interact and fellowship. It's a place of community and prayer, fun, play, etc. So it's really just a holistic group guided by the Holy Spirit as we continue our ministry in campus. So yeah, layman terms.
Hey, wow, that was quite an introduction, but it was detailed and in-depth. So hopefully those who were not knowledgeable of the CSM, they are knowledgeable now. So with the coexistence or us being in coexistence with COVID-19 in Trinidad and Tobago and this complete 180 transition to the virtual space, how would you say the CSM has still managed to encourage students to keep that connection with God, provided that, we are not in school and we can't attend mass, and even in our communities, we can't or we couldn't attend mass for quite some time?
I will say that it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, but God does not give you more than you can handle. So it is what we had to ask ourselves is, what is God trying to teach us in this moment, or what does He want in this moment? So it's definitely been a challenge. It's hard enough while you're in school to try and, one, keep your faith alive, and two, just kind of manage school. So far less for the whole situation with the whole coronavirus, the COVID situation. We're online, we can't interact with one another. Usually peers would be each other's confidants, or to help them, I guess, get through this semester. You could talk to somebody. Now you're online and you might not be able to talk to somebody as easily as you would have before. So it's definitely been a challenge. And as you mentioned, we were not able to attend mass for some time. Those who don't know, as Catholics, we would attend mass every weekend, Saturday evening into Sunday, right? So yeah, and it was difficult, but I will say that you had the online mass, and just a personal example, having to watch the online mass with the Archbishop every Sunday morning was a change of pace for me, but a nice change of pace because I would not normally hear his homilies because my parish is in Tunapuna in St. Charles. So, and I got to hear the Archbishop's homilies every weekend, which I think is something that God wanted. So I believe that God can take evil and turn it around for greater good. So it's definitely been a challenge, but God is good and we've been getting through it.
Well, that's good to hear. And I asked because I know we're in a very special and auspicious season as Catholics. We are in our Lenten season, people. I say we because I am also Catholic. But as you said, with weekly mass, it was definitely important to see how students were able to seek God in a quiet time or by themselves rather than having to depend per se on having to go to weekly mass. For some people that is necessary. They have to do that in order to be with God. But furthermore, besides the obstruction of being unable to interact physically with the other members of the CSM who, are responsible for some of the most important bonding activities such as prayer meetings, organizing for mass, and I remember even the midday rosary. What do you do as a committee to ensure that the word of God is still alive among the members to be shared? Some of the team building activities to just make sure that you're all in the right state of mind to communicate and tell others about the goodness of God.
Right. Well, first of all, when we started the ministry, well, at least when I became the president last semester gone, we set up, well, we didn't set up, but we made sure that our Instagram page was very active. So you mentioned the rosary. So we would have the rosary, the praying of the rosary every Wednesday at 12 via Instagram Live. That's Wednesday. We would have the Divine Mercy Rosary every Friday at 3 p.m. Instagram Live, and the prayer meeting, which is on Zoom, every Friday at 6 to 8 p.m. So we would interact and we would be able to fellowship on through that medium. Also, there's a WhatsApp family chat. We call it the CSM family chat. So if you are on that chat, you are able to see the daily messages that come through, the daily encouragements. People also would send a couple of things. They'd have some questions answered. So if your question is posed at the prayer meeting on Friday evening and it's not answered in that prayer meeting, you would usually get your answer through a WhatsApp message, either direct or for the entire group to see on the WhatsApp. So we would just keep up with persons. Our vice president, she religiously keeps up with everyone. So she would message people, see how they're going, just to check up on them. And let them know, hey, we're thinking about you. Hey, we didn't see you here. Hope everything is all right. And just to let people know that there are others out there looking out for them.
Well, that's honestly good to hear that you guys are taking full advantage of the online platforms and, just keeping in check with everybody. So moving on from your strengths, we're going to focus now on some of the challenges. So on the other hand, seeing that you are a student-led religious group, what would you say were some of the difficulties you encountered to have been with some students or just modern day society and the trending cultures? Would you say it is difficult to speak up in opposition to some of the things as part of the Catholic faith, that does not support certain things based off of past doctrine?
Right. Difficult, yes. It can be difficult at times, especially when you don't want to go against the culture, right? Of the society. You've grown up a certain way and your friends a certain way, and you don't want to lose those friends. So you rather just stay silent than speak up. So difficult, yes. It is a difficult thing to do at times. You run the risk of being marginalized, to put it blunt, being marginalized from some persons. You run the risk of losing some friends. But I think that every individual, not just Catholics, every individual needs to ask themselves, what is it that you're going to stand for? Are you going to stand for your beliefs, your faith? Are you going to stand with the person who is the master of everything, the person that is most important in this life and the next, which is God? Or are you going to choose to stay silent and not speak up because you would like to fit in? If we want to follow our God, Jesus was anti-culture in many things. So he definitely was not somebody who went with the crowd. As scripture tells us, we are called to be in the world, but not of the world. So we dwell in the world, we interact with everyone there. We don't cast any judgment on people. That's for God to do. But we simply stand up for what is right, let it be known, and let God do the rest. So yeah.
Hey, well, thank you so much for that. And we're about to wrap up a bit. So we'll end on, more of a personal note. So what would you say is your strategy for, combating being of the world or being more in flesh than in spirit? As the president of the CSM, you are expected to be an exemplar. You really have to
Right.
practice what you preach. So what are some of the things that you would be giving up for this Lenten season?
Well, a couple of things. I can't mention everything. That some of them are a little personal, So we are me and
Just
my Lord walking together. Can't mention. No, but it is this. If this life was easy, then we would have no need for God almost. If there would be no need for faith, if there would be no need for God's help, if everything was easy. So it is hard. It is challenging at times. But God never said to do it on your own. He always says, the joy of Lord is my strength. You need to lean on God to overcome your trials and tribulations. And when you fall, you pick yourself back up and you turn to God. Don't run away. I think it's common practice for people when they fall or they sin to say, oh, good, now, Lord, I don't want to go back. Or you just remain in your sin because you're feeling guilty, etc. So for me personally, what I do is I dedicate myself to prayer. I have a prayer time and I surround my life around God. So I have a prayer time, a scripture reading time, and nothing is going to disrupt that. Obviously, I'm a student, so around exam time, I might not be able to spend, let's say, the usual hour in prayer. Might have to cut it down to a little half an hour, but it's important that I remain in communion or constant conversation with God throughout the day. So, just that constant communion with God, because Jesus is a person. It's a personal relationship you're trying to have. It's not just he's this distant God far away. It's a relationship. Just as you and your friend need to talk and converse regularly and tell each other what's going on. Same thing with Jesus. And for Lent, well, the usual every Friday, no meat, fish. Also, I guess the distractions of the world. So Instagram as much as possible because CSM is on Instagram, so I have to be there. But
In moderation.
yeah, but yes, well, my personal Instagram, I'm trying to staying off. But CSM Instagram, I got only godly things on the Instagram, so it's all right. But also giving up different things that I think need to become more permanent. So things like unforgiveness, things like holding grudges, things like getting angry, and this is me speaking personally. So those kind of things I need to try and overcome and dedicate more prayer to. So yeah, that's me for Lent.
Well, that's lovely to hear, and we definitely do wish you all the best with that, Joshua. And lastly, to end, since you mentioned the CSM's Instagram, can you tell us what is the handle so students can keep in contact with you guys, to just hear the word of God?
Yes, all right, everyone. So you can check us out on @csm.spa, that's Instagram, on Facebook at csm.ue, and you can check out our YouTube page, Catholic Students Movement STA, or you could just search up CSM space STA on YouTube. You find all our stuff there, all our videos, all our prayer meetings, but the highlights from the prayer meetings, everything. So we look forward to seeing you.
So thank you once again, Mr. Joshua Gavaya, President of the Catholic Student Movement. We wish you guys all the best in your endeavors, and we wish you a blessed Lenten season. So thank you once again.
Yes, thank you, Tamika. Thanks for having me.
We will now return back to Vernon, who will introduce our next segment. So stay tuned, guys. We have so many exciting things in store, especially today. So we look forward to that. So Vernon.
All right, thank you. So we'll head into our next segment, which is our alumni feature. And today we are blessed to have with us Mr. Ariel Saunders. So please welcome him to the show. Good day. How are you?
Hey, Vernon. Thanks for having me. I'm
No
fine.
problem. It's
Nice
surely
to
a
all the
pleasure.
viewers.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, so my name is Ariel Saunders, as you rightly said. I am from the humble community of Muruga, located in deep South Trinidad. I'm 24 years old. I attended the University of the West Indies from 2015 to 2018. I have a deep interest for politics, for community work, youth advocacy, development work generally. And so I often find myself in activities that promote same.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your experience at UE. How was it when you attended?
My experience was very interesting. It was very good. Let me say that it was very good. But it of course was interesting, as I think everybody or everyone's story is. There's some level of interestingness about it. I always remember my first week in UE. It was a bit overwhelming. That transition, it is always, I feel, you're never quite ready for that transition to university life. And so I remember being a little overwhelmed during the first week. But as I say that, I also say that it's very important that there is someone there who could guide you through the process, because I remember having an older cousin of mine who met me on about the third or the fourth day. And in seeing that I was so overwhelmed, he really guided me through the process. And it became so much simpler, so much easier. And from there, my UE experience really blossomed. I had my schedules in order, and then I branched off into doing so many different things at the university while I was there. So I remember, as I said, that first week being a little overwhelming, and I also remember how important it was having someone there who could guide me through the process, as my cousin did, and ensure that that initial transition into university life was good. From there, I got involved in campus life. I started to work as well. So I know that this might probably be a question that you'll ask later on, but one of the big takeaways for me is the ability to learn how to balance, and I think that that I have been able to master that to quite a good extent because of my time at UE.
Okay, well, perfect. Your statement about having someone there to guide you truly resonated for me, because I'm an international student.
Right.
So coming to Trinidad and UE, it was just like, it's a lot going on here.
It's probably double what I would have experienced.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate that. What would you say would be your fondest memory at UE? Like, what is something that you will never forget?
Well, there may be many, but one of the things that I don't think I would forget was my experience as deputy FSS rep at the university. I served as the deputy to Renel Kisoon, who's now councillor for Kokam African in my regional corporation. And it was truly a good experience engaging at that level of campus life. I remember we held a karaoke as an event. I think it was to bring awareness to, if not gender-based violence, to mental health. And the karaoke was so successful, and we had doubles. We had a doubles vendor on campus. So it was something a little new in that, FSS was a little dormant for a while. And then we really brought it back with that event. And it was so successful. I remember, the level of engagement we had then, and and how we would go from planning that event into, operationalizing it. And then I remember UE Sports Day, which was in and of itself, the mecca of, competition and of rivalry, So, I would never forget my time spent as the deputy FSS rep.
Okay. And we're in a season of Lent, and a lot of people are talking about what they'll give up. But what is
Right.
one thing that you wish you would have done while you were at UE?
I would have been engaged a little more, and I probably might have run for a position on the guild. At the time, I was balancing work and other things, and I really didn't think about heading into that direction. But probably looking back, I may have been able to serve at a level and bring about some changes, that I would have seen that the guild might have needed at that time. So that might be, if I would put it, a regret. That might be probably one small regret. But as I said, that too, fades away when I look at my experience as FSS rep on the guild as well. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned some very important phrases. So you said that you're involved in the political, arena. How can students get involved in this area, and what is your involvement been so far? What's it been like so far?
Sure. So let me start with the second question first. Recently, January 25th, I would have contested a local government by-election as an independent candidate in the local government by-election. And so that in and of itself was an amazing experience. I would have been able to muster a significant amount of votes. I think that, it was like at least 24% of the electorate. And that was significant because you would not normally find independent candidates being able to amass so many votes. So that, was a beautiful experience to me. And I could definitely credit that to the skills that I learned while I studied political science at UE. I probably didn't mention before, but I'm a political science student. I have minors in international relations and public sector management. And of course, I did use that knowledge and those skills that I gained while at university and put it into effect on my campaign. As a matter of fact, you would hear my competitors on the local government campaign speaking about, the level of, skill that our campaign team would have demonstrated in terms of politics, going forward, and in terms of really putting forward a different and a new message to persons. And I would say that, of course, the guild is a place for students to begin. While sometimes we may have persons who enter the guild, really just to advance themselves and their professional lives, I think that it is a great place to start in terms of service to a community. And the University of the West Indies and the St. Augustine campus in and of itself is a small community that really embodies a lot of what we see regionally and in Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of the challenges we face nationally, we find it in small clusters at the university as well. And so I think that persons who, probably want to get into politics, the guild is a good place to start. It's a good place to start to get involved. Probably if not as a guild councillor, as probably, the head of a club or so, and get involved in terms of advocating for people, in terms of serving people, in terms of identifying deficiencies in policy, in terms of holding administration accountable, in terms of holding each other accountable. I think that, it's a good place to begin, especially while you're at university.
All right, that's some very good points. And in reading about you, I see that you represent Trinidad and Tobago on an international level. You want to give us a bit of some background information on that?
Yeah, so I was one of 13 members selected from across Trinidad and Tobago to represent the Partners of the Americas Youth Ambassador program some time ago. And that was really a cultural and voluntary exchange. And I learned so much from it, interacting with, persons from across the region and across the globe, and really collaborating in terms of, getting planning development initiatives for our communities. Because upon our return to Trinidad, the first thing we had to do was implement a project. And I collaborated with two other of the persons from Trinidad and Tobago in a local community project that was geared towards teaching persons about conflict resolution skills, anger management. And it was in really 3 underserved communities in Trinidad and Tobago. And from there, we went on to several other different development projects. And I could really credit that experience to me being actively involved in development work.
Okay. So what advice would you give to students to be able to get involved in their community, to make a change, not just at the university level, but in the communities that they represent?
Yeah, I would say a very simple line and is a very cliche line, but just do it. I think so many times we wait until I think we're professionally ready or we are qualified before we get involved actively at a level of service, and that's not necessary. Sometimes all it takes is the will and the dedication and consistency. Once we are very resolved in terms of the change that we want to see in our environment, I think it is enough to educate yourself on the different issues and just launch out, get involved. When I decided to contest as an independent candidate, I'll say it was the chances of success was already zero. The public attitude towards independent candidates was in a deplorable state. So I just did it because I was really resolved. I believe firmly in what I stood for, and our campaign will demonstrate that we were able to get across that message. We were able to do what many other candidates were not able to do. We became a threat to the mainstream political parties. So anyone who is interested in serving their communities, once you are able to identify, areas that you can serve, areas of deficiency within your communities, I would say just get involved, find out. I think something that we probably need to focus on as a country and as a regional community is getting our young persons into volunteerism, becoming active, starting at a very small level, and not just waiting, until we can get some sort of personal gain from it. But, get involved at a very early age and just do it. If you feel like you need to get involved, and I'm speaking to my younger self when, I had those ideas about you running for guild, just do it. There's so many concerns that sometimes hold us back. Will I be good enough? Will I win? And so it's really just to pick yourself up and throw yourself in. And of course, educate yourself about the arena that you're in as you go along.
Very good points, because you won't know what happened until you actually just do it, like you said.
Exactly.
So in closing, you have a wealth of knowledge. There's so much students who probably will look up to you and you inspire them. So how can we reach out and get in contact with you? What avenues are there to be able to find out and keep up about what you're doing?
Sure. So immediately on my Facebook page, Ariel Saunders, people could look out for me there. I have an Instagram account, the PM_1, right? And I also do a show called Politics with the PM that educates persons who are not interested in politics. It's specifically geared for young persons and people in general who don't like politics and not interested in it, in terms of breaking down politics on that level for people to understand that politics is not this foreign thing that we should be afraid of or we should dislike or we should scorn, but it's really near and dear to our hearts and it affects us on a day-to-day basis. So I pause a little bit because of the campaign, but I'll be resuming at early March, probably the first week in March with that show. So you can look out on my social media accounts and you will see me on that show. Especially if you don't like politics, I'm looking for you. I'm calling out to you. Come and have a look at this show.
All right. Well, thank you for joining with us. We're definitely proud to see outstanding UE alumnus out there. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We definitely look forward to more great things coming from you.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. All right. And back to you, Kendell.
So thank you, Vernon.
No problem.
Once again, guys, you're tuning into Campus Beats, and we're very close to the end. But every week we have a very special segments where we go dig deep or get behind the scenes with our favorite guild counselors, and it gives me great pleasure. I mean, I don't want to sound a little biased, but I mean, he definitely is one of my. Well, let me introduce one of my favorites. Who would introduce another of my favorites? So guys, let me introduce you to our guest host this week, Mr. Matthew Seeley, and he will take us into our next segment.
Thank you so much, Kendell. And I'm actually going to pick up exactly where you left off. The counselor we have for you today is really probably the most energetic counselor we have, probably one of the most favorite counselors for any person on the council. So without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Kobe Sandy.
Hello, good night, everybody. I am here. I don't know what you're all saying is favorite council, and I don't understand all that.
And that there already is the energy we love from Kobe, and that is what he brings to the room. So, getting started, Kobe, before we do anything else, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us who Kobe Sandy is.
Kobe Sandy is a lot of things. It's a lot of things, and we can stay here whole night talking about Kobe Sandy. But of course, firstly, good night to you, Matthew, and to the publications committee and all of our viewers and our students who are viewing tonight. I, of course, hail from the beautiful borough of Point Fortin in southwest Trinidad and Tobago. It's the best place to work, recreate, and make children. And so I would recommend Point Fortin anytime, any day. Of course, well, basically, I am now the National Affairs Chairperson for this academic year. And that in itself could tell you a story of what I am. And what I am is that I want to really and truly be the change I want to see. And I'm talking about myself, and that has been me since I can know myself. Whenever I saw something that needs to be fixed, I often ask myself how best I can help, how best I can make a difference. I remember it was in 2011 when I was in a community, and many children in the community couldn't read and couldn't write, and it was my age. They were my age, and I asked myself, the older ones, I mean, why they can't read? And in that, they said, of course, they can't afford to go to school. But I know I love to read, so I bought books from home, and I said, let me read to the children. Let me read to my friends. Mm-hmm. And from there, it grew to an entire, charity organization called Friends Incorporated. Where for five good years, we had a vacation school for children. Over 100 children in that community in Peru. But that goes to tell you that with what I am is probably not in the physical sense, but what I am is embodied in the soul, in the spirit, and of course, really helping the community, building the community, uplifting people is what I am. Yeah.
That actually is so inspirational, I would say, because, serving with you before, I think I've heard you mention this, but, really hearing it and hearing you go through it and speak about that initiative, that really is something so powerful, yes. Especially at such a young age to be able to do that. And, I see that furthermore as probably why you would have been able to take up this task as NACC itself, yes. And be able to really carry it forward. So, what I would like you to do is, tell us a little bit about the NACC. Tell us what the goal of the NACC is and the role of the NACC is for the Guild.
Well, the National Affairs Committee is single-handedly the best committee and office one could ask for in the Guild of Students. What it is honestly the organ within the Guild that makes the Guild into a national icon. Because what it does, the National Affairs Committee, don't let the name get waxed with you. It's not only about trying to make affairs, but the National Affairs Committee is one that takes the Guild out of the parameters of the campus and, of course, link it with the external community. So what it does really, it is a two-part thing where the National Affairs Committee brings what the Guild has to offer to the wider community and takes what the community has to offer to the Guild. So that is what it is. So of course you will see the NACC doing a lot of things on social involvement. So all of the social awareness programs, autism and Women's Day and Men's Day and this kind of thing, we often bring awareness of issues within the external affairs and bring it to the guild, so that, and the guild with the definition meaning all of the students, not just the council, but all of the students. We bring up awareness to the students. We also, what we do is student advancement, or I would say youth advancement, where we look at innate qualities and talents and skills of the student and assist them into really and truly giving them exposure, as well as for them to appreciate and expand on their passion. What we also do in NACC is cultural integration, where we are cognizant that the UWI is founded upon diversity, especially the St. Augustine campus in Trinidad and Tobago is built on diversity. And what we do, we accept all, we engage all, and we integrate all cultures together. And that is what the NACC is all about. I can go on and on about the NACC, but what we do, we really truly as one component to the Constitution is to provide meaningful programs that seek to uplift and enhance the students. So that NACC, again, no committee can touch the NACC when it comes to that.
You know, I really like what you highlight there, and you know, I think that is probably, as you say, probably one of the most important aspects of the Guild of Students. You know, that interaction with the external community, not just in Trinidad, but you know, regionally, and what it is we can offer them, and then what we to bring back to our students to change the atmosphere here in the university.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
So as we're talking about all of those rules, tell us a little bit about some of the events you would have done so far.
Right. So the National Affairs Committee, we had a plan. We really had a plan for the campus. You know, with the hope that things would return to normalcy, but of course that we live in unprecedented times. However, when we saw that the direction that we would have been at home for another year, we said to ourselves, let us adapt and let us, of course, be innovative in how we engage our students. So what we would have done in the first instance, we would have, of course, first expanded the operations of the NACC, and of course from there we would have added positions and a youth affairs officer. We had a education officer, as well as other subcommittees to help give us the human resource to get our things in order. In August last year, we would have hosted the first event, which was Emancipation Matters, where we sought to bring in the conversation of Black Lives Matter, as well as the recent the killings of the guys in Mova that culminated to the Emancipation Day. And we sought to talk about emancipation, and not just the literal sense, but of course the sustained and deeper sense of it. And we also, of course, produced cultural aspects of the holiday as well, because that's what the NACC is about. We also from there we would have launched a successful Mind You mental health campaign, where we hosted a plethora of activities, including many talk show hosts where we talked about issues on sexuality and mental health, relationships and mental health. That was called Battle of the Sexes, and we had Nikki Crosby then. We had events, we had conversations on how one can improve their mental well-being and so on. From there, we would have, of course, had aerobics to really try to get our students active whilst they were home. We went on to do a talent night, where we encouraged our students to express themselves through talent, and of course, for it to be a kind of jazz, a relaxation thing for our students during that campaign. From there, we would have been on multiple shows, multiple episodes, bringing the national issues to the forefront. And this year, going forward, we are going to have a youth symposium where we would be expressing our young youth entrepreneurs and our student entrepreneurs within the campus. We will be highlighting our women very soon for our women's appreciation ceremony for Women's Day. We'll be having a cultural showdown to really bring long live the art form. It's called, and you're also going to have this semester some Know Your Country tours. So that will mean the NACC will be a bit active, even though in the face of adversity. So look out and be prepared for some good things. A good up NACC, I will say.
I like that. I like that a lot, to be honest. Definitely looking forward to what you all have in store. I always love to see the NAC working. I myself have a passion to see it working, having served myself, on the committee last year. So I love, yeah. So I love to see the NAC, and I'm definitely excited. And you know what, too, I would say, I think definitely we have to bring you back for part 2, because we have to hear more about those events and all the events leading up to it. So definitely we have to bring you back for part 2. But before we wrap up, do you have anything you want to say to our guests, our viewing members and students?
All I want to say to the students is to be involved, be engaged, be informed. Some good things are happening right now in the UV space. So of course, don't let this opportunity draw. Be engaged, be informed, and of course, let our guild be alive going forward. Yeah?
I like that. That's a lovely, powerful message. And I'll tip it off by saying simply, be the change you want to see. Exactly what you said. Thank you so much, Kobe, for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So guys, let me say, I want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning in, guys. From all of us at Campus Beats. Thank you for being with us, and do enjoy the rest of your night. Bye, guys.
Good night, guys.
Bye, be safe.
Bye. See you all in the next episode.